What's up, guys? Welcome to Fed by Fire. I'm Christian Whitlow. Tonight, I just wanted to make a video about gratitude and just tell y'all how grateful I am for the life I have, for this podcast. Um, Recently, I got to take a week off of work and actually get paid for it. We got to go to a water park and, and go to out to eat to a couple places we wanted to go and just see some new stuff. And, I never thought that I'd be sitting here with you guys, being able to say that. Just that, let alone that I got a paid vacation from my job or that I've been working somewhere for a whole 2 years. We went out, we had a lot of good time. I rode a lot of stuff that I didn't think I was going to. A lot of stuff was not as scary as I remembered it. We stood in the sun, we ate the overpriced food, we laughed, but we made a lot of good memories. And to me, that was everything because there was a time that I didn't think I'd live long enough to see a day like that back when I was homeless. And, back when I had to worry about things like worrying about if I had warrants out, just worrying about my freedom, worrying about if today was going to be the last day before I got locked up or before I got died or got an infection that resulted in a hospital stay, as I had many of those. And, I never knew I was going to see the next one. And I lived a life that where I fucked a lot of people over. And I had pure luck. And to me, I thought it was skill. I was in denial. It was stupidity and luck. For years, I told myself that shit. I put my freedom on the line for people that it meant nothing to. And if that sounds familiar, then you gotta think, where's the reciprocation in this? If there's no reciprocation, a wise man once told me, only have friends who need nothing from you. I'm not gonna lie. I weaponized my trauma, and a lot of times I was a selfish piece of shit. And I own that, and I have a lot of real regrets and things I can't take back, people I hurt, time I wasted. And there were nights I truly believed and hoped that my time was gonna be up. But looking back, that was the most selfish thing I could say to myself. I thought it was coming, though, a time I'd never wake up, or I thought somebody would kill me that I screwed over or owed money to, or that I'd end up on the wrong person's property, and that would be it. I was a zombie, a junkie, walking around like looking like the undead. I couldn't even look in the mirror without really feeling disgust. And my whole life was centered around wanting to be in a void, wanting to be sedated. And there were a lot of days I didn't know where the next meal was coming from. And then I stayed in shelters, waiting just, to be able to go back at 6. I stayed in porta potties in the snow. And now I get to go to the grocery store and fill up my cart with whatever I want. And that's not a lot to some people, but to me it's everything. And I didn't think I deserved anything that I have now, but here I am. God looked out for me, and the thing that's missing now is I wish my mom was here, but I know she's in heaven right now looking down on me. She's smiling. Hey, shout out to my dad. He doesn't get the credit he deserves in my video. That man worked hard his whole life for me, and I would not be here without him. He worked for me when I wasn't worth working for, and he's been in my corner. He's always answered the phone. So, I was never truly alone. And he was a great example of how to do right. I did wrong on my own. There are people missing from my life who didn't make it, but I know they're watching, and I want them to see that I didn't stay down. Since I've been clean, we're almost at 2 years. It's been one good thing after another. I thought the good days were over, that those good memories that I had from when I was a kid, those would be, the only good, genuine memories I would ever have. That I wouldn't be able to make any new ones, but that's exactly what I've been able to do. And I'm just grateful to be alive. I didn't think I was going to make it here, but God had other plans for me. And I have a family that depends on me. I have a job, and I'm a dad and a partner, and I have a good relationship with God. I'm a better Christian. There was a time in my life that I was faithless. And I'm about to move into a house that we can pass down to my daughter, something I never even allowed myself to dream about. I've been getting these little checks back from child support for overpayment because I've been taking care of my child support, taking care of that obligation. And it's just a great feeling. I'm current, I'm present, I'm responsible. Even the little shit like go to Subway today and eat whenever I want. And I used to not be able to feed myself at all. And I'm not ashamed when I look in the mirror anymore. I see someone who's still fighting and still growing, but free. And the other day I was listening to a podcast and I heard Charleston White say something that, stuck with me. The baddest man in the land don't need nothing from nobody. And I'm starting to feel that. Not arrogant, just peaceful. I don't need the bullshit. I don't need any chaos. I don't need the old version of me that just got in its own way all the time. And, instead of looking at the negatives, like we didn't get to go to the beach this year, we didn't get to do that or get to do this, just a water park. Some people would say that's not a big deal. They don't know where I come from. They don't know what it feels like to go from not knowing, where you'll wake up, if you'll wake up, to taking your family somewhere fun and actually paying for it with money you earned honesty. That water park was a victory. That paid vacation, a miracle to me. And I still have days that the old thoughts try to creep in, but that beast is permanently shut down. Because I always say to myself, after losing my mom, I realized there's nothing that could make me trip up, because that's the hardest thing that I could have that could have put me in a position to want to not feel. And I got through it. I have a lot of regrets that sit with me, but as a man, you got to try to forgive yourself, because if you keep carrying that weight, you'll never fully walk into what life has in store for you, or what God has in store for you. If I can go from homeless, from wanted, from a zombie, to from putting my life on the line for people who never cared about me, from believing I was going to die in the streets, to this, to having a family that needs me, to working a job, to getting paid time off, to getting a house for my daughter, to look in the mirror and just not hating what I see, then you can too. When whatever you're dealing with right now, addiction, depression, anxiety, the feeling that time is running out, it doesn't have to end that way. That doesn't have to be your story. And I'm living proof of that. And I'm not special. I'm not preaching. I just wanted to make a video and say shout out to my family, shout out to my supporters, and thank you for everyone that's been here and been a part of my story. I love you guys. And I just finally got tired of dying while I was still breathing. And life is beautiful. And I never thought I'd be able to say that. And I mean it with all my heart. But I do get to keep saying it. I get to stay clean. I get to forgive myself a little more. And I don't give up. And one thing, you can't give up on the version of you that is still there. You know, I'm rooting for you all the way, because somebody rooted for me when I didn't deserve it. And that's all I got. Thank you guys for listening to this one.